this afternoon in their home opener. James Hardy with you as we appreciate you for joining us here on ESPN as the Alabama Crimson Tide come in undefeated on the season at 11-0, and with the win over Bradley, UAB now at 5-6 on the season. Caitlin Russell, the starting pitcher for UAB, as there you take a look at her in the circle for the Blazers in their white tops and bottoms, as Jenna Johnson takes the first pitch inside for ball one. Actually just about 60 seconds early getting started today. We'll call that a 3:44 first pitch, as we have another beautiful day here on a happy Friday, as a hit by pitch on the second pitch of the at-bat as Jenna Johnson gets a positive start for the Alabama offense here in the top of the first inning. There you take a look at Caitlin Russell, who in her last weekend start had one of her best starts of the season against Central Michigan, a complete game win for the Blazers. We'll take a look at her full totals here in just a moment as Kenley Cahalan takes outside. And before that, a full look at the Alabama starting lineup as Johnson leading off over at first base thanks to the hit by pitch. That's hit pretty well into center field, as tracking that down is Wiggins for out number one on Kenley Cahalan. So Cahalan, the shortstop, retired, as Abby Dukeshire, the designated player to the plate in the third spot for Coach Patrick Murphy. Callie Hevelin in the cleanup spot on deck, the second baseman. Emma Broadfoot at first base bats fifth. Bailey Dowling at third in the sixth spot. As a strike call, Dukeshire, the DP. Also, the bottom third of the order, Riley Valentine, the catcher, bats seventh. Kendall Clark in right, bats eighth. And Larissa Pruitt in center in the ninth spot. Pitch gets away from Allison Smith, as Alabama has a runner in scoring position with less than 2 outs. So there you see Jenna Johnson, who is able to get in scoring position without the benefit of a hit, as Alabama certainly wants to get on top early, as this is their second road weekend of the season. Pitch outside. They come off of one of their best all-around performances of the season in a 9-1 6-inning run rule win over North Alabama on Wednesday. 2-1. That's taken high and away. And certainly you can't get much better as far as a start to the season than an 11-0 start that the Crimson Tide has gotten off to so far in 2024. That's hit pretty well into center field, as back is Wiggins, as she at least keeps the ball in the ball yard. So advancing to third base will be Johnson, as she had to make sure that ball was not caught by Wiggins, as we'll take a second look. That was probably still should have been caught if you asked Bella Wiggins, as she just dropped it against the wall. And so that puts a couple of runners into scoring position as Johnson to third and Dukeshire at second base. Early opportunity for the Crimson Tide as they're in their crimson tops and the gray bottoms on this Friday afternoon. UAB already with a win under their belt here in the Green and Gold Classic. Pitch gets away, or they'll just say a foul ball. Johnson not taking any chances that time as she tried to go down the line from third off of that foul ball. So even count. Callie Hevelin, a .273 average, as she hits it into center field. An active first inning for Wiggins as she makes the grab, but that easily brings Johnson in from third on the sacrifice fly. So on Dukeshire's contact to deep center, they call that an E8 on a dropped fly ball in center by Wiggins. So that'll be an unearned run for Caitlin Russell, as the sac fly puts Bama on the board. 2 down is Dukeshire still at second base. Emma Broadfoot, the first baseman, a homer on the season along with 4 RBIs. This is her 5th start of the season as she comes in 2 of 10 from the plate. Takes one pretty good pitch to hit that time, but a patient approach for the Bama first baseman. Brock, Wiggins, and Miles from left to right, the UAB outfield defensively. That almost comes in to hit Broadfoot. UAB's infield, Lindsey Smith at third, Vol back at short, Dorsett at second, and Aguilar over at first. Good off-speed pitch that time, and an even better job by Broadfoot to lay off of it. First base open for at least the pitcher, Caitlin Russell, as she looks to work out of a little bit of trouble and try and at least minimize the damage in the top of the first. That's off the end of the bat and gets into center field for Broadfoot. As rounding third and scoring is Dukeshire, as Bama with a solid start to this Friday afternoon, now up 2-0. Not exactly that hard hit, but finds the right spot, as you see. A good job of hitting by Broadfoot, as she's able to guide that through the middle into center field. And so the RBI for her, her 5th of the season. Bailey Dowling takes upstairs. Dowling, one of 3 seniors in the starting lineup for head coach Patrick Murphy. 7 of 28 from the plate with a homer and 3 RBIs. Strike call. It's a Bama squad coming off of a 2023 run to Oklahoma City in the WCWS. Actually, one of those squads, usually you would never describe it this way for Alabama, but last year really kind of an overachieving squad as far as being able to get to Oklahoma City last season. Hit well down the line, and that stays fair as it just hugs the line. As a good throw into third, a very close play, but not in time. So Bailey Dowling able to sneak it inside the left field line as she's able to record the double and keep the inning alive. Her 2nd double of the season, as you see, just on the white chalk down the left field line. And a good throw from Lulu Brock as she just misses getting an outfield assist against Emma Broadfoot as she was able to slide into third. So Alabama can deliver a pretty big punch here if they can get some sort of hit from Riley Valentine. And UAB recognizes that as assistant coach and pitching coach Molly Hansen out in the pitching circle. So taking a further look at Caitlin Russell's numbers this year for UAB. This is her 5th appearance and 4th start in the year. 1-1 the record and a 2.88 ERA in 17 innings pitched coming into today. 20 hits allowed, 7 runs all earned with 9 walks and 10 strikeouts. Pitch down and away to Valentine, the catcher. This is an Alabama squad that we'll talk a little bit more about in the bottom of the 1st inning. Of course, the post-Montana Fouts era of Alabama softball. Grounder through the left side for a base hit as Broadfoot scores. Coming home and sliding in is Dowling as Alabama doubles their run total here in the 1st inning. As advancing to second on the play is Riley Valentine. As the tied 4 and UAB still to come. As far as their offenses, you take a look at a solid job, good contact by Valentine as she's able to single home a couple of runs. And so her RBI total now up to 5 on the year. Bama couldn't really script a better start to the game than they have right now with a 4 spot on the board and an opportunity for more with Kendall Clark ahead in the count. Pitch from Russell inside that time. Certainly a promising start for Coach Murphy's squad as they come in, as far as their offense, averaging a little less than 6 runs per game. A strike call. Especially being on the road and kind of tuning up for conference play in the SEC and always stacked SEC in a couple of weeks. The type of mentality you want to see out of your team. Pitch misses outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. We'll see Kayla Beaver as far as Alabama starting pitcher in the next half inning as that 3-1 pitch is downstairs for ball 4. So 2 runners aboard as Alabama has now batted around here in the top of the first inning. Larissa Pruitt to the plate. Certainly talk about her defensive prowess as far as one of the top plays in college softball later on the young season. 278 her average as she falls behind in the count against Caitlin Russell. So Russell could really use the third out of this inning to prevent any more runs from scoring. Outside on the 0-1. Pruitt has started 7 games coming into today. Her 12th appearance of the season, no homers and 4 RBIs. Pops it up. Tough spot that time for the UAB defense as it gets by Vollback as the inning continues, and another run comes home to score for the Crimson Tide. Not always how hard you hit it, but where you place it, and that was the case for Larissa Pruitt on a Texas League single to the opposite way. And there you see, just gets some contact on it and was able to float it over the head of Olivia Vollback at shortstop. That's an RBI, a 2-out RBI for Larissa Pruitt, her 5th of the season. As we're back to the top of the order in Jenna Johnson. So the carousel of Crimson Tide batters continues to begin this game. Pitch downstairs. And really Alabama picking up where they left off earlier this week in their first midweek game of the season against North Alabama when they scored 9 in a 6-inning win. A strike call. But for most of Patrick Murphy's tenure, as far as the characteristic of his team, is kind of get off to that hot start, get some confidence early. As a swing and a miss evens the count. But also, he wants his teams to play their best softball in late April and then into May when it matters the most. 2-2. Good eye by Jenna Johnson as she was hit by a pitch and later came home to score earlier this half inning. Just underway as Alabama already with a 5 spot in the inning. Payoff. Hit high and far down the left field line and gone. A 3-run homer for Jenna Johnson as Alabama explodes for a snowman here in the top of the first inning. So for Johnson, her first homer of the season and RBIs number 2, 3, and 4. As Alabama having their best offensive inning of the season as they're on top 8-0. Very impressive showing so far for the Crimson Tide as there you see Johnson just golfing that down the left field line. Able to turn on it and pretty much hit it into the Mary Bowers Field parking lot down the left field line. Didn't shatter a window, however, as far as one of those cars in the parking lot. I imagine Coach Murphy that you saw at the front of your screen very pleased with his team's outing so far as a solid rope by Cahalan into right field. Cahalan, so far that UAB has given up here in the top of the first inning have been unearned due to the dropped fly ball by Bella Wiggins earlier in the first inning. In fact, Dukeshire down the line in left field, that's a fair ball as the inning continues. So batter number 13 about to come up to the plate as Dukeshire with officially her first hit of the ball game. And Cahalan an extra base up to second on the play. Able to take that inside pitch was Dukeshire. A solid hit for her. So A.J. Kramer into the ball game as that pitch gets away from Allison Smith. To third, Cahalan, and Dukeshire into scoring position at second. The wheels have long since come off the UAB bus here in the top of the first inning as Alabama an opportunity to put 10 in the inning. And ouch as far as Hevelin is concerned. Hopefully she's okay. She'll run over to first base. A low fastball that hits her on the front foot that time. But she'll stay in the game, toughing it out for the rest of this half inning. Certainly it's been a fun inning for the Crimson Tide, as they have the bases loaded, and Emma Broadfoot will have her second at bat of the inning. An RBI single and a run scored. As the pitch from Kramer misses inside. A.J. Kramer was supposed to get originally the opening home start of the season for UAB, but Olivia Vollback did so earlier today against Bradley. A hitter's count for Alabama's first baseman in Broadfoot, as she's already gotten on the board as far as a run scored and also an RBI. Takes down low, is coming home and getting tagged out at home plate is Alabama's Kinley Cahalan. As we'll have at least a stoppage in play, and now I think that is the third out of the inning. At least we'll have a umpires conference here, as I think Alabama thinks that pitch hit Emma Broadfoot, and UAB believes that they were able to get the third out of the inning. A little confusion out on the field as our trio of umpires confer. And we'll go over to Patrick Murphy to tell him as far as the decision that they made, and that will indeed be that replacing Montana Fouts, a pitcher by committee type of deal, as Beaver already off to an outstanding start in her Crimson Tide career. This is her fourth start of the season and sixth appearance overall, a 3-0 record, as she has just a 0.29 ERA in 24 1/3 innings pitched. 9 hits given up, 2 runs, just 1 earned, with 4 walks and 33 strikeouts. That's a strikeout to walk ratio that Coach Patrick Murphy and his coaching staff will take all day long. So UAB in a deep hole as they come to their first at bat today. Bella Wiggins, Lulu Brock, and Lindsey Smith, the first 3 in the UAB order, due up against Beaver. That fastball pops in there for strike 1. So Beaver looking to at least match the efficiency that her offense was able to do for her in the top of the first inning. Comes home. Late swing that time, and contact made and goes foul over the Crimson Tide bullpen down the left field line. First of 2 meetings this weekend for Alabama and UAB, as they'll also have a midweek game in about a month down in Tuscaloosa. There's Wiggins at the plate, who has a 9-game hitting streak coming in. 0-2 pitch downstairs for ball 1. Already like the stuff that Beaver has as far as that pitching arsenal. And very curious to see how Alabama's pitchers do as far as going into conference play. 1-2. That comes in, and that hits Bella Wiggins. So a 2-strike pitch on an inside rise ball that time. So we'll take another look. As let's see where that hits Wiggins, and right on that elbow guard, as Wiggins able to get aboard here in the bottom of the first inning. So what UAB at least wants to do is just try and chip into this 8-run deficit, as a runner on and nobody out as Brock takes outside. Brock has started every game so far, getting the start in left field for Coach A.J. Doherty. .267 the average, 8 of 30 from the plate so far this year, with no homers and 5 RBIs. Pitch down and away. So a hitter's count for UAB's left fielder in Lulu Brock. Lindsey Smith on deck, and after this pitch, we'll take a rest of the batting order as far as the look for UAB today. Downstairs on the 2-0, so after that hit batter, Beaver struggling a little bit as Brock ahead in the count 3-0. Olivia Vollback, the cleanup batter, playing shortstop in this game for the Blazers, followed by Alyssa Aguilar at first in the number 5 spot. Pitch outside for ball 4. So UAB has a chance maybe to get a big inning going as they have their first two batters aboard with nobody out for Lindsey Smith. Allison Smith, the catcher, bats in the number 6 spot, followed by Hannah Miles batting 7th in right field. Auburn Dupree, a newcomer for Coach A.J. Doherty, the DP, batting 8th, and Hannah Dorsett, the second baseman, bats 9th. We'll have a coaching visit for the Crimson Tide as the first-year Crimson Tide pitcher in Kayla Beaver, a little bit of a struggle so far coming out of the gate today. That last walk just her 5th of the season. Also, in addition to, as far as pretty much, except for Jada Torrance, a new pitching staff, a lot of new faces in the circle for Alabama. Coach Patrick Murphy, really kind of with a new look, a mostly new look when it comes to his coaching staff. Pitch outside for ball 1. Lance McMahon, you just saw as the pitching coach come to take a visit with Beaver. As Smith ahead in the count. That's a grounder right at third, could be 2, in fact should be 2, as Dowling makes the throw across for a 5-3 double play on Lindsey Smith. A tailor-made twin killing that time. As Wiggins retired for out number 1, as here you see the one-hop bouncer as that sets up the 5-3 twin killing. Brock into scoring position as Vol back to the plate. That's hit the opposite way and drops down for a base hit. Clark comes up firing home, and they get Brock in plenty of time to retire the side. Hey, when you're down 8-0, why not try and take a chance on the throwing arm? The 2 outs down the left field line. And then Kendall Clark with an outfield assist to home plate to retire Lulu Brock at home. We begin the second inning as Broadfoot, Dowling, and Valentine do up for the Crimson Tide. As here you see Broadfoot. That was at the plate when Kinley Cahalan tried to score on a possible wild pitch and was tagged out at home plate. Count even to begin this top of the second inning. Alabama looking very impressive so far. As the 1-1 a strike. Certainly going to test the fight and resilience as far as UAB the rest of this ball game. As A.J. Kramer comes in. First full inning of work for her. Slow bouncer left side as Volbach scoops, throws in time. And this is the type of opportunity for A.J. Kramer that, as far as coming in relief of Caitlin Russell, and at least allowing UAB to chew up some innings, but also as far as longer term in the season to get some more playing time once they get into AAC play for UAB. Bailey Dowling gets ahead in the count. Dowling a double and a run scored in the first inning. Certainly pitching when it comes to the AAC for UAB in their inaugural AAC campaign, one of their strengths coming in to the season. A strike call is to count at 1-1. I imagine we'll see for Coach A.J. Doherty, Leah Kirby, the top pitcher on the staff, on Sunday against the Crimson Tide. Swing and a miss as Dowling falls behind. Bailey Dowling, 7 of 28, 250 coming into today. Already 1 for 1 as Kramer comes home. Not a bad pitch that time, as an even better job for Dowling to lay off that 2-strike pitch. Here you see Kramer, a newcomer as far as the UAB roster for 2024. Good pitch that time, and a called strike 3. Best pitch as far as for UAB today that time, as that gets the strikeout of Dowling, and quickly 2 down here in the top of the second inning. Take a second look at the resulting strikeout as Bailey Dowling goes down for the first time today. Riley Valentine already a couple of RBIs as she swings at the first pitch and fouls it off. Valentine, the started catcher today, making her 8th start of the season, the sophomore for the Crimson and White. Wind in the pitch. Swing and a miss as Kramer showing some good stuff here in the second inning, and she's one pitch away from a 1-2-3 inning. Even if UAB doesn't come back to win the ball game, it's a type of response as far as I think that H.A. Doherty's looking for. They can get a 1-2-3 inning here. Pitch is outside. Certainly when you talk about the college softball teams as far as the first month of the season, you're just kind of at least getting off the starting blocks and want to get a good start and really get yourself set up for conference play over the next few weeks. Bouncer foul. And the Crimson Tide picked to finish right about the middle of the pack in the SEC this season. 6th out of 13 teams in the SEC. Only Vanderbilt does not have a softball program in the Southeastern Conference. Of course, the SEC expands by 2 next year. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch that time as back-to-back strikeouts for Kramer to retire the side to get off to a hot start. Opening game of the Green and Gold Classic for the Crimson Tide as Alyssa Aguilar, her first at-bat of the ball game as she takes for ball 1. Aguilar on the season, 179, just 528 from the plate. Beaver in her second inning of work for the Crimson Tide as she takes outside. At least misses outside as Aguilar ahead in the count. Beaver, a transfer from Central Arkansas. As there you take a look at her. Ready to come home with her 2-0. That's hit off to the left side and foul. I was talking with longtime Crimson Tide radio voice for the Crimson Tide Sports Network and Tom Canterbury prior to the game. And as you take a look at Aguilar, looking to get a leadoff batter aboard for the Blazers. That's hit left side and foul. I mentioned Beaver, a transfer from Central Arkansas, but Alabama, her dream school to go to. So because of the COVID year and the graduate transfer rule, an opportunity for Beaver to play at her dream school with her dream team. Bouncer back to the box. Easy play for Beaver, 1 down. And obviously, Beaver not the only ones, not the first, and certainly far from the last as far as young ladies that, as far as star softball talent at the high school and travel ball ranks across the country, that as far as Alabama goes is among the top as far as dream school selections. Allison Smith, the catcher, hits foul behind home plate. Also Hannah Miles due up as there you take a look at the UAB catcher and Allison Smith. Second start of the day, still in search of her first hit of the season as she's 0 for 6 on the year. Allison Smith trying to replace Sierra Frazier as far as one of the top sluggers from the last several years in Conference USA for UAB. Multiple all-conference and all-region selections as far as Sierra Frazier's career. The 1-1. Down low. So Beaver hasn't necessarily been in her sharpest so far in the season today, but she's been able to pitch around trouble in the first inning. Nobody aboard with 1 down. That's off the end of the bat, foul. Alabama's defense was in the first inning was just as impressive in support of Beaver as the offense was in the first inning, as they had a 5-3 double play with no outs and 2 runners aboard, thanks to Dowling and Broadfoot as far as that third to first combo. And then also throw in the outfield assist from Kendall Clark and Wright. A called strike 3 as Smith goes down looking. Strikeout number 1 today for Kayla Beaver, and that is her 34th of the season, compared now to just 5 walks. Right on the inside corner that time. And Allison Smith not ready for it. 2 up, 2 down for the Blazers here in the second inning as Hannah Miles, the Tuscaloosa native, takes downstairs and inside. Hannah Miles, an alum of American Christian Academy, almost in the heart of T-Town. She tries to get aboard here against her hometown team. Her second year for Miles playing for the UAB Blazers. That's a strike call. 1 ball and 1 strike. Beaver a lot better, at least more consistent second inning than her first. She gets a swing and a miss and 1 strike away from a 1-2-3 inning. But certainly Beaver, one of those that you would imagine will get and will have a lot to say as far as her contributions with Bama this year in SEC play. A foul ball, and hopefully our home plate umpire's okay. I think that went right off of him after the foul ball. Bobby Martinez, our home plate umpire. Veteran umpire Craig Hyde over at third, and Bradley Newton over at first. Yeah, it looks as if our home plate umpire, Bobby Martinez, needs to take a little time to catch the wind out of himself. So let's take a second look here as you take a look at the Alabama infield and Kayla Beaver. That last foul ball. Ooh, I'm glad I'm not that umpire right now and Bobby Martinez. I hope he's okay. He'll have to shake that off the rest of the day. And that's certainly one of those freak accidents as far as the dangers of umpiring behind home plate. I hope he's okay, as Martinez at least will tough it out and shake it off as we're about to resume play. 2 down, nobody on base. Skies darken here at Mary Bowers Field here in Birmingham. 1-2. Grounder over to the left side. Dowling over to first base in time. Easy inning for Beaver and the Crimson Tide as UAB goes down in order. We're through 2, still Alabama 8 and UAB. Rain starting to fall here in Birmingham, as the fans starting to at least get some cover, at least under the stands or with the ponchos. 1 ball and no strikes as Kendall Clark leads off for Alabama. Pitch upstairs. A.J. Kramer with a very nice second inning for UAB as she was able to retire Alabama in order, including a couple of strikeouts in the second. Inside, so Clark 1 pitch away from getting on base. Take a look at Kramer's numbers here coming in to today's ball game. As the pitch taken for ball 4. So Kendall Clark on for the second time via a base on ball. A very solid at bat for Alabama to begin the top of the 3rd inning. A.J. Kramer making her 4th appearance overall, 3rd out of the bullpen this year. 3 innings coming into today with no runs allowed so far. A couple of hits, 1 walk, and no strikeouts. That last walk, her 2nd of the season, as she misses to Larissa Pruitt, the center fielder. Already has one of the top defensive plays, and really one of the top plays in all of college softball so far through the first 3 weeks of the season. Pitch in there for a strike. The final game of Alabama's trip to Georgia Tech was able, with the bases loaded and up 4, able to rob Georgia Tech of a homer and then lead to a game-ending triple play. Was SportsCenter's top 3 play that day. There you see the infield alignment and a runner at first for Alabama as 1 ball and 2 strikes on Larissa Pruitt. She already has a single and a run scored so far today. A driving rain now here at Mary Bowers Field as that's fouled just to our left and out of play. So the fans now starting to scurry as the wind and the rain start to pick up. 1-2. Might have slipped out of the hand of Kramer, so that evens the count. Wasn't exactly expecting this today as we started out with partly cloudy skies as far as just this particular game. And when UAB got started around 1:30 earlier today against Bradley, it was mostly sunny. Almost like a pop-up shower during the summer as the umpires confer, and looks as if the teams are going to come off the field and we're going to be in a weather delay. So a 2-2 count here in the top of the third inning as Alabama has a runner aboard over at first base as Alabama leads 8-0, and we are and play back underway as a line drive. Is it called in right field? Yes, it is, as Hannah Miles makes a spectacular catch off the line drive by Larissa Pruitt. As there you take a look at a very joyous Hannah Miles as she was able to rob Larissa Pruitt of at least extra bases. And there you see about an ankle-high catch, and also able to catch it up off of at least a deflection for out number one. Strike call as we go back to the top of the order, and Jenna Johnson, the left fielder. So that might make it to Sports Center as Larissa Pruitt smacked a line drive right to Hannah Miles as she caught it off of basically the tip drill that time. Jenna Johnson homered her last time up in the first inning as she falls behind, no balls and 2 strikes. We come off of about a 10-minute rain delay as the fans settled their way back into the stands. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And so what a way to get us out of the rain delay as Hannah Miles with some acrobatics in right field defensively. Kramer comes home. Hit well into center field as Wiggins goes back and makes the catch along the wall. Jenna Johnson's hit the ball hard a couple of times now. As she's 1 for 2. 2 down for Kinley Cahalan. I imagine and hope certainly that we see Hannah Miles on Sports Center later on tonight and tomorrow morning as Cahalan 1 for 2. Making a return to the Magic City this weekend, so able to play in front of her family and friends in the Magic City. 1 more to go for Bama today, and then, like UAB, still 3 more over the weekend as far as the Green and Gold Classic. 2 balls and no strikes. Cahalan flied out to center in the first inning and then singled in at least her second at-bat of the first inning. That's hit hard into center field. Rounding second, heading to third, Clark just ahead of the throw as Cahalan advances on the throw. So 2 runners in scoring position as Abby Dukeshire can put some RBIs on the board for Bama as there's a hard lick that time by Kinley Cahalan. So Cahalan, a multi-hit game on the season. At least on the day, rather, as she's now 12 for 34 on the year, including a 2 for 3 outing today. Abby Dukeshire reached on a drop fly ball at the wall by Bella Wiggins early in the first inning and then singled later on in the first. Down and in on the first pitch. So Dukeshire comes in with a dozen RBIs and also a couple of homers, including her most recent first inning single, 15 hits on the year. That was a good changeup that was swung over the top and missed by Dukeshire. So evens count at 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 down, however, for Bama. That's a good block by Allison Smith behind home plate. So A.J. Kramer 1 out away from what would be her second consecutive scoreless inning out in the circle. Kramer comes home. That's hit left side. Good stab over by Lindsey Smith as the throw to first base, a piece of cake that time to end the inning. Good defensive play by UAB by Lindsey Smith and also by Hannah Miles and right keeps Bama off the board and the Crimson Tide this year on the softball diamond. Also good to look at UAB's schedule tomorrow as the first pitch at least bunted through that time for strike one is Auburn Dupree, the designated player with her first at bat today. 9th start for Dupree this season, just 2 out of 17 from the plate. Beaver fires home, and that's up and in. Dupree, a newcomer for the Blazers this season. A transfer from Georgia Tech, a 5'4" junior from out of Gadsden. 1-1. Bunted through, and a strike call. Dupree has started both games today for UAB as the Blazers able to take their home opener earlier this afternoon, 2-0 over Bradley. That's tapped foul behind home plate. Like the Crimson Tide, the Blazers of UAB also have a couple games tomorrow. Neither of these teams will face each other tomorrow, as they'll also play on Sunday, will Alabama and UAB for a second time this weekend. 1-2. A called strike three on outstanding location from Beaver. So after a shaky start to this ball game, Beaver has been able to get a double play ground ball off of Lindsey Smith, a single from Ballback, and then an outfield assist from Clark, and otherwise 4 in a row set down. And that is her second strikeout of the ball game as Dupree retired. Hannah Dorsett swings and fouls it off on the first pitch. Dorsett on the season has started every game, 8 for 31 from the plate with no homers and 3 RBIs. UAB hits the diamond tomorrow again as they face Western Carolina and UNA. 11:15 for the start time against Western Carolina. As 0-1 is bunted at and missed. And then they'll turn right around, and about a 30-minute break period after their game with Western Carolina, they'll face the UNA Lions. Beaver ready, and that's low. The 5-game weekend for UAB, part of an opening 7-game homestand as far as the first home games of the season here in 2024 for Coach Ryan Doherty's squad, or Coach A.J. Doherty's squad, I should say. 1-2 is outside. Later this week, UAB has a doubleheader, actually a 2-team doubleheader. So they'll have Northern Iowa in Game 1 on Wednesday, and then the Auburn Tigers in Game 2 on Wednesday. 2-2. That's tapped and was Dorsett out of the batter's box. And yes, she was out number 2. I think a good call that time, and also good to see Bobby Martinez hang in this ball game after taking a tough shot on a foul ball earlier prior to the rain delay. We'll take a second look at that foul ball, and I think Coach A.J. Doherty's going to plead his case as far as that ball hitting Dorsett while she was in the batter's box. But Martinez says that she was outside of the batter's box to overturn the call, so it's going to be a foul ball. And Hannah Dorsett will have another try at it against Kayla Beaver. Very interesting decision that time, as Dorsett has an opportunity to get on base for the Blazers. So Dorsett stands in. Beaver comes home, and a swing and a miss for the strikeout. So Kayla Beaver says, no worries, I got this taken care of myself. So the review really doesn't come into play that much, as as you'll take a second look at the strikeout. The second strikeout of the inning as some late tailing action from Kayla Beaver. So that is her third strikeout of the ball game as the first pitch swing and a foul ball out of play for Weaver. Or check that for Wiggins as Beaver looks to get another 1-2-3 inning on the boards for the Crimson and White. Bella Wiggins hit by a pitch her last time up. A 9-game hitting streak at stake for her as she takes inside. Wiggins on the season, .429 the batting average with no homers and 3 RBIs, including her Game 1 performance with 2 hits. 2 for 3 RBI effort against Bradley as she fouls off the 1-1. So Beaver 1 strike away from another 1-2-3 inning and potentially striking out the side. Beaver in the first inning hit a batter and then walked Brock, but later was able to get Lindsey Smith to ground into a 5-3 double play, a big play in that inning. 1-2 pitch down and away. That was coming off the 8-run top of the first inning. And so far, all of Alabama's runs have come in that first inning. Two-two. Popped up. Should do it. Cahalan calls for it and makes the grab. 1-2-3 inning for Beaver as UAB set down in order. We're through 3, still Alabama 8 and UAB nothing in the third inning, but play resumes as the sun shining on UAB's playing surface here at Mary Bowers Field. Looking great as far as the season opener for UAB here in Birmingham. The home opener for the Blazers today. Actually, home opening 2 games as the first pitch, a strike call. So Kramer back out on the rubber and gets the first 2 strikes on the board here in the 4th inning as Emma Broadfoot, her 3rd at bat today. RBI single, her first inning at bat. And then grounded out to short in the 2nd inning as she fouls off the 0-2. First of 2 games today for the Crimson Tide as they take on Western Carolina following the conclusion of this game. Scheduled for a 6 p.m. first pitch. That's hit off the end of the bat. Vollback out into shallow center makes the catch. Nice outings in relief for A.J. Kramer, the Fort Payne, Alabama native, as there you see Vollback, who had a complete game herself against Bradley, a shutout, a 7-inning shutout earlier today. A good way for UAB to get the home schedule started with success. So check that Haviland with the pop out is now Broadfoot to the plate. A little bit ahead of myself there has also Dowling scheduled to come up this inning for the Crimson Tide. Alabama really made at least my scorecard a bit messy in that first inning with 13 at the plate, as they were able to score all of their 8 runs so far in the first. So Broadfoot 1 for 2 today. And Haviland on the pop-up 0 for 1 with an RBI. There's a good backhanded stab by Smith as she makes the throw across in time. 2 up and 2 down for A.J. Kramer. Certainly earning herself some more playing time over the rest of the season as Bailey Dowling to the plate. Dowling a double and a run scored and a strikeout. A couple of strikeouts so far for Kramer today as a tap foul at home plate. Alabama including this weekend on the road for about a full week as they go to Jacksonville State in the midweek coming up this week. Then the very next day, they'll host their next pre-conference tournament, first against Northern Iowa. That gets to the backstop. And Alabama in the second weekend of March host the Florida Gators to open up SEC play. One. Good off-speed pitch that time from Kramer to get the strike call. For Alabama, as part of the T-Mobile Crimson Classic next week, they'll have Arizona for a couple of games. As the bouncer left side, fair for Smith as she drops the handle. Almost got the clean field and then just dropped it when she tried to get that exchange into her arm to throw over to first. Should be and is an E5 on the play. Inning continues as the spot for Riley Valentine. Another look as Kramer got the ground ball she wanted. And normally a routine play for Smith, and just tried to throw it before she could cleanly field the ground ball. So Valentine to the plate, 1 for 2, including a couple of RBIs in that 8-run first inning. All 8 runs, by the way, that Bama scored were unearned for UAB pitching. Caitlin Russell got the start and did not get out of the first inning, as all 8 runs that scored were charged to her. Hitters count for the catcher Valentine. Pitch hit high, should be playable in left center. Wiggins makes the grab and the side retired. No runs on no hits in error, and 1 left on base for the Crimson and White. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Still Alabama 8. Lulu Brock a walk her last time up in the first. Fastball in there for a strike. I like how Beaver has been able to respond ever since quite a shaky start, at least, to the first inning. Talk about a hit by pitch. A walk also could have given up a run on a 2-out ball back single. That's inside. Almost hits Brock as Kendall Clark able to come up with an outfield assist at the plate in the first inning. UAB really has not been able to recover since then. A ground ball past the third base coach's box. But Alabama, ever since the first inning when they scored 8 runs, has just put it in cruise control ever since. They're 6 outs away from their second consecutive run rule victory in as many games. Alabama 11-0 on the season. 1-2 upstairs. Alabama to start the season won 5 games in Atlanta as part of the Buzz Classic at Georgia Tech. Able to topple Georgia Tech a couple of times, as well as Longwood twice and Villanova. That's low. So full count to Lulu Brock. And then they've won 6 in a row in Tuscaloosa as far as their opening home games of the year. Payoff pitch, tapped foul. Last weekend in the Easton Bama Bash, Alabama beat St. Thomas a couple of times. Also, they beat Virginia 2 times and then took care of Southern Indiana 2-0 before beating UNA earlier this week 9-1 in 6 innings. 3-2. Low and away for ball 4, so Brock with a couple of outstanding at-bats as she leads off the 4th with a walk. So UAB certainly would like to keep this game going. Still not quite to the possibility as far as Alabama run ruling UAB. That's still at least an inning away as Lindsey Smith at the plate. Takes low. One of the biggest at-bats of the game for UAB, may have been even the biggest at-bat. With 2 runners on and nobody out, Smith bounced on 1 hop over to Dowling for a 5-3 double play. There's a fly ball, sliced toward the bullpen and out of play. Lindsey Smith already with a good start to the year for the Blazers. 379 coming into this game. 11 of 29 with 2 homers and 11 RBIs. Leader in homers and RBIs on the team. 1-1. Fastball inside. And for Coach A.J. Doherty, certainly looking for Lindsey Smith to take up some of the slack that's at least left behind by Sierra Frazier with this UAB program. Pitch from Beaver. That's low. Snap throw down to first base from Valentine. Not in time. So Sierra Frazier, one of the top sluggers as far as homers, RBIs, and really one of the top clutch hitters in Conference USA the last 3 seasons. A big reason why UAB nearly won Conference USA in the regular season last year. Pitch low for ball 4, so a great start for UAB here in the 4th inning as they get back-to-back walks from Brock and Smith. Walk for Lindsey Smith, her 6th of the year. So Olivia Vollback can get UAB on the board as Beaver tries to work out of trouble for the first time since the first. Misses inside, does Beaver. Kayla Beaver only had 4 walks coming in and a little more than 24 innings, and now she has walked 3 today. See if she can get out of this jam. Misses low, so hitters count for UAB shortstop Olivia Vollback. A regular for the UAB Blazers over the last several years since 2021. A brief powwow for Valentine and Beaver for Alabama. So Vollback, the native of the Commonwealth of Virginia, can make a big impact offensively as far as maybe not only getting 1 but 2 on the board with an extra base hit. Fastball low as the count at 3-0. Vollback, one of the most versatile members of the UAB roster, not only a shortstop but also a solid pitcher herself, as she was able to get a complete game victory earlier today. 3-0 pops in there for a strike. Vollback out of Stonebridge High School in Ashburn, Virginia. A 5'10" junior, as she still has the hitter's count. Opposite way and goes foul. On deck is Alyssa Aguilar. So even though Coach A.J. Doherty has most of the roster back from 2023 because of Sierra Frazier's departure, that means that at least the early part of the season, a lot of figuring out as far as the lineup. There's a foul ball and out of play. So especially as far as the mid-major, the AAC type of conferences, really gives teams like UAB a chance in the first month of the season to figure out their starting batting order before you get into the teeth of conference play. Good eye on the 3-2 by Vollback as she loads the bases with nobody out on a walk. Good approach by the Blazers so far offensively, as they've stayed disciplined at the plate, and there you see nowhere to put Alyssa Aguilar, as you have Brock now at third, Lindsey Smith at second, and Vollback over at first. Aguilar ground out to the pitcher as she whiffs through the first pitch for a strike. Aguilar, a regular starter over the last couple of years herself for the Blazers, has started every game this year, and her 6th hit, if she can get it, would be a big one. They'll appeal down, and yes, says the third base umpire on the check swing in Craig Hyde. Tough break for Aguilar, and she's down in the count. Beaver looks for the strikeout and gets it on a swing and miss. So good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Aguilar as she's the first out of the inning. Big time strikeout for Beaver. As there you see her with a bright sun overhead, donning the shades out in the circle along with the protective gear. Allison Smith takes low. So looking at Smith's numbers, just some limited numbers coming in. This is a chance to get her first RBIs of the season. Still bases loaded. Outside on the 1-0. So if you're Allison Smith, you've got to be looking for that fastball here and try and drive it back up the middle to get your team on the board. There's a bouncer. Could be two. 1, 2, 3 on the double play. Beaver, Valentine, and Broadfoot on the 1-2-3 combo, as that's Alabama's second double play of the day. And there you take a look at some fundamental defense for the Crimson and White to close out the bottom of the fourth inning as UAB held scoreless as we go to the fifth. Alabama 8 and UAB nothing. But if there is a bright spot for the Blazers, it's certainly been their fight for one, but also the relief performance for A.J. Kramer today. 3 1/3 scoreless innings for UAB as she gets a strike call. Top of the fifth inning for Bama as they have 8, 9, and 1 in the order. Kendall Clark, a couple of walks and a run scored as she skies it in the infield. And a little miscommunication as that stays fair as Clark tries to go to second, and they have her out at second. Quite an interesting play on both ends for Alabama and UAB. As love to see a second look at that one. As we'll take a second look. You have the catcher in Allison Smith and Aguilar not able to communicate as far as who gets to catch the ball, but give credit for Aguilar, doesn't give up on the play and then throws the ball back, who's able to gun down Clark at second base. That's a foul ball and a bunt. So we'll see how that's eventually scored. Actually, they called that a single because it didn't hit either Aguilar or Allison Smith's gloves before going to the ground. So Clark reached base and then was thrown out 3-6. So an interesting way to draw up the first out of the inning. More conventional this time as Kramer gets the one-hop grounder for the second out of the inning. Very impressive for Fort Payne, Alabama native A.J. Kramer, and certainly against a team and program like Alabama, as she's now come to 4 full scoreless innings. These are the type of games that can get you a lot more significant playing time down the road. Also, for Coach Doherty, certainly adds more depth to an already deep pitching staff. Back to the top of the order in Jenna Johnson, who has a 3-run homer in the first inning and a couple of runs, along with 3 RBIs as she hits that foul down the third base line. Certainly that first homer of the season for Johnson and her 5th hit of the year should help her confidence, not only the rest of the weekend, but also maybe for the Crimson Tide get her going at the top of the lineup. Also for Coach Patrick Murphy, an opportunity to see as far as some combos that can work in his lineup prior to SEC play. That pitch gets to the backstop on the fly. Certainly you look at Bailey Dowling along with Emma Broadfoot and especially Kinley Cahalan, and they've been able to prove what they can provide as far as SEC caliber competition. That's hit well, but Wiggins ranges over and makes the grab. So an unconventional 1-2-3 inning for UAB as Kramer with an outstanding relief outing gets Alabama out, possibly to another run rule victory in as many games against an in-state opponent. James Hardy with you as we appreciate you for joining us here on ESPN this Friday afternoon. The first of 3 days of the Green and Gold Classic here at Mary Bowers Field as we take a look at Alabama's new pitcher in Alex Salter. So she has a chance to close out this ball game for Coach Patrick Murphy's squad. Alabama also 3 outs away from staying undefeated to start the year. Time to flip the lineup card over as Hannah Miles leads off and bounces it foul off her own foot. Just one hit for UAB in this one, and that was a solid opposite field single by Olivia Vollback that nearly scored what would have been UAB's only run of the game. However, Kendall Clark was able to rob UAB of a run with an outfield assist at the plate. Pitch in the dirt that time. So Salter comes in as the Crimson Tide want to go ahead and just wrap this one up with a crimson and white bow today. And also get a little bit more time to prep for their final game of the day. They'll play Western Carolina, scheduled for 6 o'clock here at Mary Bowers Field. UAB, after this one, done for the day. 2 games for both Bama and UAB as far as the Green and Gold Classic tomorrow. These 2 teams will face off again at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Full count to Hannah Miles. That's hit into left field for a base hit. One of the best at-bats of the ball game for UAB as Miles reaches on a leadoff single. Brings up Auburn Dupree, the designated player. Let's take another look. Right on the inner half that time as Miles able to get that bat barrel around, get those hands in, and get good contact. So her first hit of the day, 1 for 2. Dupree gets ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. In the circle, Salter, a 5'11" redshirt junior from Fort Myers, Florida, has the bunt shown and at least swung at, I should say, bunted at for a strike. Throw down not in time. So Salter ready for a 1-1 as here you see Dupree gets the bunt down but foul. We'll get a look at as far as some of the early numbers for Salter so far this year. Not a save situation for her. As she gets ready. And that's taken outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So UAB's leadoff batters have been able to get on base 3 out of 5 times today, but they just haven't been able to finish with runs in an inning. A little bit high that time. So UAB's done a pretty good job of getting deep into at-bats against Alabama's pitchers. Kayla Beaver to start things in the first 4 innings. 3-2, swung on and missed for the strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Alabama pitching today as Salter comes through with the K. Hannah Dorsett to the plate, another look. That's good location on the inside corner that time. Not really much that Dupree could have done. As Dorsett gets ahead in the count. So far, this is actually the first appearance for Salter this season. A swing and a foul tip that time by Dorsett. Beaver struck her out in the 3rd inning. Dorsett's only time up so far today. Grounder, back to the box, toss to second for 1, on to first, in time to end the game. Alabama's defense exceptional today as that was their 3rd double play turned. That time a 1-6-3 double play.